This is how you can lose the weight the way you want. Weight Loss by Hims offers access to a variety of options.
All right, guys. So excited for this particular study today. Glad to see some people coming in really early. We've got Dog-Faced Dudes Deliberating, which I assume is actually our special guest. I'm not sure if that's the account he's on or if that's somebody from his crew. So good to see you. Thanks for giving everybody the update cleaner on the times in each time zone. We got Steelman, who came in number 2. I'm sure he's here because he's convinced that hell is in the Bible, and our study here is hell in the Bible? This is going to be one hell of a show. And how the hell is everybody doing? Hell or high water? We're going to make this a good show. I see we've got also Never Lucky Rubber My Ducky. He has been following us since the beginning. A lot of people have been following us since the beginning, so that's really been awesome. What is this? Grant's Grimity. Yes, we are live streaming. So we're here. Somebody may have noticed that somebody typed in all caps and the cap spot did not yell at you. So we're doing a little bit better there. I also see Patrick came in, and there's Marilyn. She's also been a longtime supporter. Karos Bandit. Also good to see you guys. So I'm excited that we're getting a good crew in here for the beginning of this episode. Like I said, it's going to be fun. I did want to highlight, since this is our 5th episode, maybe 5.5, because we did have a pre-episode. Since this show has started, we've had a Grillipus, Never Lucky Rubber My Ducky, Average Debate Enjoyer, Sky Like Mine, Shiva, The Steelman, On the Edge, Animated Effigy, and Comedy Debate Analysts have been pretty much here since the beginning and engaging in chat. So big shout out. Also some honorable mentions to, Benjamin. He's been actually watching before he's even come on as a special guest. Board Sergeant at Arms, Abe Dinkus, David, Brandon Mize, and Wicket Wally. You guys all also get some honorable mentions. So super excited to have all of you guys that keep returning and keep supporting the channel. So we've got some people waiting in the back here. But before I also point them out, I did post the Discord in the chat. You can scroll up to find that. I'll actually share that here. Where's Discord? So if you join the Discord, we've got some cool things going on in there. We do have our general chats, but we have the Tubbs section, and that's what we affectionately call the Uncomfortable Bible Study, which is our Tubbs study here. And I have been putting summaries of each of the episodes, categorized in episode 1, where we talked about the Bible. Also, using AI, forgive me for those people that don't like AI, to actually read through the chats and summarize everybody's chats, which is pretty cool. We can actually see what people's thoughts were, where they were frustrated with the episode, what they liked, some of the banter they just went back and forth with alone. So we've kind of got summaries of what the actual show was about and what everybody chatted about, because there are sometimes 2 different worlds going on. There's the online debate, and then there's the chat debate. And sometimes they mix, and sometimes they go off topic, and they can be running in their own multi-universes at the same time. And often in the end, they all do merge in the end. At the end of this show, we will open the panel again. I think that was pretty fun last time. I did have to step away, and I noticed it stopped, and I don't know why it stopped, because I actually don't have sleep on my computer. It doesn't go to sleep, but I'll try not to walk away this time, so that that open panel at the end can continue going. So I apologize for that technical mistake last time, but hopefully we've got everything a lot more situated as I get through these episodes. We keep on getting better at them. Yeah, so let's see. I was going to share the Discord. There we go. Actually, I was talking about it, but I wasn't actually sharing it. So yeah, just to share that, you can see we have this section here. So make sure you join the Discord. You can look through all the previous shows, the notes, who was in chat. The chats always actually do blow me away. The AI is pretty good at actually reading through your guys' chats and picking up on who is the most conversational in there, and the different energies that different people have on the verdict. So I really do actually enjoy going through that. So without ado, let's introduce our panelist here. I did see him up there. We checked his audio earlier. Where did he go? Oh no, did we lose him? Benjamin, did we lose you? Oh, there he is. Okay. Let's pull up Benjamin.
No, I was messing around with my trying to make sure I was on the right audio because I can't hear you.
All right, so you're hearing me?
No, I'm on here, Dad. Dad, I'm on here.
All right, so Benjamin,
I
can
don't
you
even know what's going on? Vybe is gone, and I am here.
let's see.
Well, they can hear me online. I can hear myself.
Can the audience hear me?
Hi, guys. I don't know where Vybe went.
Okay, 1 second here. Why does this say there's only one participant? There we go. Can you hear me?
Still can't hear you. This is weird.
All right. Average debater, can you hear me?
Weird.
We see and hear Vybe and Ben. Okay. So for some reason, they can hear me, but only Ben can't hear me. Let's just test with Cleaner here. Cleaner, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can, but your mic is really low, and I have you all the way up on this side.
How about now?
Ah, much better, much better. Okay. So this must be a Benjamin thing. We're just testing it with somebody else. Can you hear me?
It switched my speaker output. I had to go find the speaker output, and it's not. I can't get to it from this page, so I had to back out and then go to the page right before you go in.
All right, perfect. Yes, I pulled you up on screen, just you. I didn't actually disappear. I was going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your channel, Deliberating Dog Based Dudes. Tell us a little bit about you and like what type of value you think you're going to be bringing to this episode. I think it's perfect that you're on this episode because I don't know if people know like what your theological background is, but I do think it pulls in an interesting conversation into this whole thing. And anything else that you want to say. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you, give you full screen and let you do your intro.
Thank you, Bob. Hi all, I'm Benjamin Balderson. You can find me on Benjamin Balderson or Deliberating Dog-Faced Dudes. Also, any of our back information you can find on alanmarcus.com. This is a very interesting episode that's coming up here. Myself, I'm an Odinist, and I think as we're going to get into the episode, that there was a lot of borrowing from heathen cosmology, and then even from other things like Dante's Inferno, in order to get the representation of hell that we have today. There isn't a strict one-for-one where you can open up the Bible and go, yep, here's the description of hell. That's what the preacher said. That doesn't exist. So there's a compilation of different things that are getting put together. I'm known for doing alchemy and off-grid living, and I look forward to talking to y'all.
All right, awesome. And let's bring up the rest of our panel here. I'm going to just do it in order in the queue here. So we're going to start with Cleaner 409.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
I argue things. It's fun. I do not have a specific religion that I attest to be a part of, but I like the prescriptions that Orthodox Christianity has for the world, and I'm slowly learning as much as I can about it through the church itself.
Very good. And I love debating with Cleaner. Anybody that hasn't checked him out, make sure you're following him, and he's a good dude in that. I think he has a very sensible sense of debate that I really look up to. We also have Beth here, who launched her channel this week. And by the way, I know your channel is a different name than your original one. I updated my link, so I will share that. But yeah, Beth, how you doing? Who are you?
Hi guys. So my new channel is called Culture Corrections. You can find me over here on YouTube. We're doing a lot of discussions about lots of different things. I'm really excited. It's been a really good launch so far. I've had a lot of really awesome people helping me, like Abe Dinkus and Cleaner and Grumpelstiltskin and everybody. They've just been wonderful. I'm trying to figure out some audio stuff here, so you'll have to kind of not mind me for a couple of minutes while I'm trying to figure out. I'm getting used to restreaming.
All right. And we have a very special guest today because he was doing his research this Sunday. As somebody who comes from the other side, he stepped into the cult. So, Tyler, why don't you introduce yourself? Maybe even tell us about what you thought of your day there.
Today, Average Debate Enjoyer on YouTube. Today, I practiced in ritualistic cannibalism and consumed the body of Christ. Although it was pretty nice, the whole thing was very serious, professional. It wasn't.
And sorry, Tyler. Beth, do you mind muting?
Sorry.
So yeah, the whole thing was nice, professional. Everyone was very kind to each other. It was nice. I just, not for me, but I'm going to support my wife, so that's all. It's a good time. But so today's topic is something I've been kind of waiting for. I have a lot of major points. So aside from what we talked about previously, where different versions of under the Christian umbrella disagree on a lot of different things. Aside from that argument, especially morality being disagreed upon and what scriptures to use and blah blah blah. Aside from that argument, how hell is defined is even its own sub-argument beneath that, where even different groups disagree within each other. And there's a lot of different, you see this, and I hate to just relate this to comic books, but with comic books, when Disney bought out Star Wars, they took a large amount of the Star Wars lore and made it non-canon. So everybody that knew all of that lore now had to go through and dissect what was new canon and what was no longer, and completely retool different theories and stories if they wanted to stay within canonicity. So I tried to take that skill set from that and relay it over to this, and I think you can see a pretty clear line of one religion's similarities to another influence that other religion as well. So I just see a lot of points I'm going to be jumping on. And it looks like I'm the sole atheist here. Well, Cleaner goes both ways. He's what's the word? Pan-religious. But so I mean, I got a lot of things I'm going to be bringing up today after we get to it.
Yeah, this is a really interesting thing, and I had my ideas. I think I thought I was 90% on my understanding of hell before I started studying for this particular episode, and then I discovered I was actually only at 60%. And through even my studies, I think I've only gotten to an 80% understanding at this point. I still have a lot of open questions as well. So I think this is going to be really interesting episode. A lot of cool things to talk about. You will not be the only guy on your side. Taylor will be joining us, the Powder Dusty or Flow State, however you guys know, but he's going to be showing up late. Glenn did say he was going to. I was talking to him the other day. I'm actually having lunch with him tomorrow. So I don't know if he's going to be showing up or not, but I know that Radical Coder isn't going to be in today. He gave us a late notice, but that's okay. So there's been a time when I was almost the only guy on this side. So, hey, it all works out sometimes. All right. Beautiful. So with that, since Glenn's not here either, I was going to give him an opportunity to promote his nonprofit, but I'll do that for him since he's not here. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. This is something he has been working on and putting a lot of his time into. This is one of the reasons you may not be seeing him stream as much, because his finances and his efforts have been going here. It's called the Sons of Thor. Some people get a little confused because it is Christian based. It is based on helping men that are suffering, whether it's through addiction or even if it's just having marital problems, or looking on how to date and be strong men and leaders, ones who can support our wives, support our children, and really need help stepping up as a man. It's a group of men that will help men. And I mean, I think it's a great purpose. It has the men have all sorts of needs. It really is based off of the ironing, sharpening iron, where one man that has gone through it and has stepped through to the other side can help that man that is trying or doesn't even know how to step over to the other side when he's suffering in marriage, when he's suffering in addiction, or whatever there is out there. It teaches men how to man up, how to take responsibility, and how to lead as a leader of a family and be a role model to their children. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you check it out. It's a great purpose, and I really like it. That's why I'm meeting with him tomorrow. I really want to talk about this more and see how I can help him move it forward as well. So make sure you check that out. If he does jump on, I'll let him give a shout out on that in the end. Right, so I got that off my task list. I have one other thing here. So I think it's important as YouTubers that we support each other. We've got everybody that's on the panel today and some of the ones that aren't in the panel here. You've got me. If you're watching on another channel, please come over to mine, hit the sub button, and then go back to your channel and watch on your favorite channel. We need those subscribers. So, and I love seeing you guys in my chat, because I actually guide the shows based on what's happening in my chat. But I don't want to steal from anybody else's sites either. So if you prefer watching it in your favorite stream, stay there. We've got Benjamin Balderson here. Like I said, check him out. He's great. He was one of the first people to ask me to come on his channel when I first started streaming. So I am thankful to him for bringing me on. I had a great debate with them. Watched Ryan on his show the other day. Maybe that's why he didn't show up today. Maybe you scared him, Ben. So he didn't want to come back. I'm sure he doesn't mind. He'll jump into anything. That's what I love about Ryan. The new URL for Beth. Well, we got the culture correction here, 315. And then everybody else's that's on there. Make sure you check them out. I put them in the links in the description. If they're not in this newest one, go back to one of the older episodes. I always make sure they, after the episode, depending on who shows up, that I include those things. So with all of that, I'm sure everybody is ready to jump into this. And I know Steelman was telling me he doesn't think that I can prove that hell is not in the Bible, which is our number one question. And something kind of interesting into exactly what Taylor's claims were earlier. Yeah, we already did our special guest. My slides are a little bit behind. I think this is a really good looking picture of you, Ben. So I like finding AI cleaned it up for me. Nice and neat there.
That is nice.
Yeah, you look like 10 years younger right there.
Yeah. Only have like 4 grandkids in that picture instead of 8.
So this is what's great about having Ben on as an Odinist on the channel. So I'll admit it, the is hell in the Bible is kind of a hook prompt, but it actually has some truth to it. So I can give 2 really quick answers. The short answer is if you look in the King James Version, you will find the word hell in there, I think 56 times. You will also, in the NASB, which is a more literal translation than the King James Version, you only find it in there about 13 times. And so then there's a question, and this I think actually goes back to the Greek version. I think they did this with the word Hades as well. When we're actually looking at the King James Version, which made hell part of the Bible, they took hell when they're translating the Greek versions and the Hebrew versions of the Old Testament, and they applied it 56 times to 4 different words in the Old Testament and the New Testament. Sometimes they translated Sheol, which is a shallow grave, to the word hell. Now, why did they change it to hell? Well, they stole it from the Germanic interpretation that most people knew, that there was something called hell. It was the realm of Loki's daughter, and its daughter's name was Hel, just one L. So Loki's daughter is actually hell. So when doing the King James Version, they basically said the best word for Sheol is going to be hell. But what I think they personally made a mistake on is then they also translated Hades to hell, and they also let me bring my notes up here of all the different versions.
It's funny, I'm looking at the same things.
Yeah, Gehenna, they converted to hell, and Tartarus, they also converted to hell. The one thing they didn't was the lake of fire was left as the lake of fire. So there's a problem. So this actually means hell doesn't actually exist in the Old Testament or the New Testament unless you do an English translation to it, which you stole from the Germanic, which is actually applying one word for different, in actual completely different meanings of this in-between world, this world that's not heaven, right? And some of the lore and the ideas of what hell looks like because of this actually came from this Germanic conversion there that you won't actually find in the Old Testament. And this kind of goes to also what Benjamin was talking about, where the ideas like from Dante's Inferno, the 9 layers of hell, and things like that all kind of got conflated from old religions. Now, this is an open question because there's also the word Hades in the Greek version, not in the Old Testament. And I wonder, this is actually a question I have in there, is that when they were converting from like Hebrew to, or just talking about Hades in the New Testament, if this was kind of a similar thing, because Hades is actually an interpretation for a demon layer of the Greek mythology. And I do not believe in the Bible that they're talking about the same Hades that is from the realm of the Greek culture or theology back there, where they basically just, when they were translating to Greek, maybe they also use that, because that word isn't used very often, as much as Sheol, Hades, or Gehenna, and Tartarus. So when I say hell is actually not in the Bible, it is in an English translation, but it actually is representing multiple ideas, which doesn't give an accurate version of it. And I would actually say no, if you look at the original translations, the hell that is misguided and assigned to more than one thing actually doesn't exist in the Old Testament or the New Testament. They have different meanings than the Germanic hell. So that is my thesis for no, hell does not exist in the Bible, but I am definitely willing to open that up to everybody else, or open that up to comments or questions there.
I had something when it comes to Sheol, and that is there's at the very least a belief structure that, and it's kind of referenced a bit in oh goodness, it's in Revelation somewhere, that Sheol is more of like the waiting place when we pass away. At least it was in prior to the crucifixion. That was where they waited. This is where Jesus goes down, he comes back up, and it says that, I've got to find that actually. I'm totally unprepared for that one, my bad. But you know what I'm talking about with that, right, Vybe?
Yeah. So I mean, this is actually an important thing, and this was going to be the next talking point as well. The two hells. So most people think of one hell, but I think it's pretty implicit in all versions of Christianity that there are two. There is a final, which is the lake of fire, which is revealed in Revelations. During Revelations, when Jesus returns, Satan, all the demons, and everybody in Hades, or and you pronounce it Sheol. I was saying
Sheol. Yeah,
Sheol.
Sheol. I'm gonna find that.
I could be pronouncing it wrong when I was saying Sheol. So my apologies there.
Everybody says it different. Everybody says all the words different, so it's all good.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And I really think that's when we're starting to get into the meat, right? So I think all Christianity, forms of Christianity, believe that there is this in between, right? This would be, but what that is, because some actually believe, because Sheol is a shallow grave. If you look at the non-religious version of that text, however, in some instances, like in Isaiah, they do talk. It's more referred to as a realm of the dead, right? A place of punishment. And there is, I have this one too, but where the thief and the rich man both die. The rich man goes to hell, and the poor man is held in the chest, the bosom of Abraham, and the rich man can see him in his chest in Sheol, right? So this is kind of making an interpretation that when there is this place that everybody is just going temporarily, purgatory, right? It's this temporary spot. And then once we get to Revelations, there's the second hell where everything is thrown into the lake of fire. And the lake of fire can also be referred to as a place that was created for the demons and, the fallen angels and the devil. But there are other references that you can look into that actually says this is the final destruction. When you go into the lake of fire, it's not a temporary spot. It is basically ending everybody that is in that waiting period. It's ending the demons. It's ending everything. The only thing remaining after the lake of fire will be heaven.
Well, then you also, there is a kind of Christianity, or well, I guess you could call it Christianity, called annihilism, right? Isn't that where they actually believe that with the second death at the coming, that hell is meant to be a prison and a punishment for the fallen, for Lucifer, for the fallen angels, and that God loves us as creation so much that it would be more of a permanent ending to the souls rather than actually going to hell. So I think that's an interesting one. I've got to find my notes here on that one real quick. But have you heard of that one?
No.
So how many, like within you're saying we're talking about NTSB, right?
I typically go from the NASB version.
NASB. Okay. I'm just curious because I've always kind of wondered how many souls have we been able to confirm, just based off what the Bible tells us, not that we could actually confirm, but based off what the Bible tells us, how many souls have actually gone to hell?
It doesn't actually give any numbers like that.
It does list specific angels that go to hell.
Oh, well, the angels, yeah.
Right, and so I kind of think that there's utility. There's utility in what we are told by God, or what has been told to us from God, for a representation. Because as I see it in our universe, God doesn't waste anything. Everything is recycled or reused in some way. There's nothing wasted. So in my mind, I can't see a God wasting every soul that does a sin but doesn't redeem. I believe that, once you pass, you put yourself there. Now, whether or not you can get out of that, I don't know. I wouldn't profess to know that. But I don't see God as being the wasteful one. I see us as being the wasteful ones.
Oh, well, absolutely. We are the ones that kind of pick where we go, ultimately, right? With our beliefs and our behaviors. So I think that does kind of, it's like touching a hot stove. If I burn myself, that's kind of on me, right?
Sure. Now, I think this is probably my biggest contention I have with most religions, is that they tell you that you're damned there for eternity. Most do, not all, but that concept just doesn't seem to follow how God works, though, because God wouldn't waste a soul by putting it in eternal damnation to sit there and rot and never have any other use. So either there's a use for souls that go to hell, or people put themselves there.
Absolutely.
And you're muted.
Who's muted? Oh,
Ben's muted.
Benjamin, Ben, yeah, you're muted. What's interesting is I think it's, hey.
And the Hood philosopher in the chat actually brought up something that I did forget to mention too when about Gehenna, which was a geographic location where in the Bible it refers to, which was kind of like this dump. It had lepers in it, garbage, and things like that. I read about that, and this is where I got concerned when seeing like hell. The whole thing is hell in the Bible. If some of the Bibles are just changing all those words whenever they say any of them into hell, we're now actually taking away what the original meaning was from that. So I think it is important that we identify in each of those areas, and that's something the NSAB version does. They actually does say Sheol most of the time, and it uses hell a few times, I think, in replacement of one particular version of that, so it stays more consistent.
Sorry, something. Go ahead, guys.
So I'm kind of holding off for a minute. First and foremost, I want to say we had a whole episode where Ryan was criticizing the Bible. We brought up the point that the Bible now doesn't agree with the Bible from before, and there's all these different interpretations. And I'm pretty sure Vybe was out here saying, actually, this is the closest the Bible has ever been to the original translation, and glazing the hell out of it. And now here he is today saying, you know what, they're all wrong. And my interpretation, that Revelation's talking about eternal damnation in a pit of fire, that's not real. It's all fake news. You're giving us the flat earth theory of Christianity right now, and you're going back on what you said like 4 episodes ago.
Well, I mean, actually, you kind of back up what I said, because I said today we now have a better version than we ever had, because we've collected so much from such old dates, and we're doing it from the original, not translations of translations of translations. But and that's why I'm talking about when I use the NASAB, right? It's actually keeping the references to the original words different, right? And that's something that's important. So that actually confirms we have the best translation we do today. However, we still have the Gen Z Bible. I wouldn't say that's the best interpretation. We still have the mental idea of hell from like the original King James, basically clumping 4 different versions of it all together, right? I still would argue that we have the capability, if we want to know, of having the best original translations today than we ever had at any period in time.
I think when it comes to the conceptual understanding of the afterlife, I don't think we do. We'll have to get there to see it and know.
Is that better?
Of course.
Am I good?
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, you're
And
good.
for cleaner, only the Abrahamic religions have that feature. Pretty much most religions worldwide, it's a cyclical event. It's not an eternal event.
I'd have to look more into that. My understanding is that they all have some kind of representation of like an eternal damnation type thing.
Most of them don't.
Go ahead, sorry.
And I agree, part of the problem is if you look at every other theology, there's different representations for what happens to different souls. Not all of them are going into actual damnation. So I think that's where when they made everything one thing, you lost that nuance with it. Where even if you take the Hell 1 and Hell 2 idea, obviously there's some idea of a redemption possible from the Hell 1. And when you look at like even a heathen cosmology, that hell is not what Christians call hell. It's not a place of torture or pain. You failed on this level, but you aren't at the place that heathens call what you guys would mean as hell, where you're getting tortured, is Nostrand. And that's specifically a place for like people that trade on their brothers and their oath breakers and the worst type of people.
What's with the slur, man? Heathens?
My tongue is swollen up.
Heathens?
I hit my damn tongue.
We don't like that word. We identify as enlightened ones, not heathens.
If I may, guys.
Oh, you're talking about I got a little slur in my tongue.
No, you're good. I'm just
so, Hinduism actually has a list of hells and describes how sins and like such as bearing false witness or destroying trees lead to specific punishments. They refer to it primarily as Nikara. And does that one? Then there is also in Buddhism. Buddhism has a hell as well. Judaism has Sheol and Gehenna, which actually Gehenna is really interesting because it has. They use that referring to a specific area that was like essentially always burning or something that was. I don't remember where it was. But if you actually start looking at things like the Book of Enoch, in Enoch there is reference where Enoch is told by the angel that anything you ask of in heaven will be granted to you, including the salvation of all those who are suffering essentially in hell. But it's not, it's not put to be as hell so much. But Enoch has some strange ways of describing what happens after death.
The thing I like about Enoch, though, is it doesn't try to say, like, while it says, yeah, everybody else can have their salvation restored by somebody vouching for them or asking for, requesting that. It doesn't say it'll be restored immediately. They may still have trials and tribulations in the afterlife they have to go through in order to get that redemption or that restored soul. So
Absolutely.
that's another. That's kind of the point I'm making here, is though that like we do not have. We have like the best understanding we can, which is like there's a good place and a bad place that people may visit after they pass, but we don't really have like the real understanding of it until we get there. We just kind of have our interpretation of what we believe is what's going to happen.
By the way, to touch on what I had brought up before, see, I scrolled too far now. I have a touchpad, so I have to like touch it in order to scroll, and it drives me insane. The idea of annihilationism. It's the belief that after a period of punishment for their sins, the soul of unrighteous will be completely destroyed and cease to exist. This doctrine is also known as conditional immortality, and rejects the concept of eternal conscious torment in hell. And it's actually held by multiple denominations. And where is it here?
So is the soul supposed to be reused in some way, or like how does that work? Is the energy of it supposed to be reabsorbed and then given out as new souls, or like, because I don't see God wasting anything. That's the thing, you know?
So, but can you actually see it as being wasted? And also too, we see, you're a fan of Enoch like I am. In Enoch, there's actually like the opportunity not only for others to ask for you to come up, but there is that time frame of, what is it? It's even in the scripture of the Bible. I'm pretty sure it talks about the period of 1,000 years for people to kind of come to faith at the very end of things, or there is a period of it. And I know in Enoch, it gives you the same opportunity. There is the same opportunity afforded.
I don't know if I'd say I'm a fan of Enoch, but I have read I've read the Book of Enoch a couple of times. The thing that always gets me is whenever we try to talk about the temporal concepts of what Enoch or the Bibles speak about. Like, we human beings don't have a really good understanding of how temporal physics work for an entity like God. Like for God, I can imagine time being a pebble. It's just something that is. There's not like a past, future, present. God just sees the painting laid out and is like, hey, that's the painting. That's how I could kind of imagine it. I think that's the best way I could understand it. And so like when people try to equate well, what about the past? If that soul's already destroyed, how can you get redemption for it? Well, because the painting's right there in front of God, and he could just grab the soul from the painting and be like, it's redeemed now. So I think when people get in the weeds about the temporal physics of it, it gets a little ridiculous.
I agree. And the other thing too is when it comes down to your question about God wasting, we were granted free will from God, right?
Mhm.
So we can make our own decisions. We are the ones who put ourselves through our beliefs and our actions wherever we go. Would it then actually be him wasting the souls, or is that like you give me a gift, I can do what I want with it, and you have no essential claims or rights to it unless I give it back to you, right?
I get what you mean. That's why I say I kind of like it. The way that I see it right now is just that God doesn't waste. We humans waste. And so if the soul does go to some type of eternal damnation, it would not be because of God. It would be because of us. God made the place so that the good and the bad don't commingle and screw everything up, in the good place. But it would be up to us as for whether or not we're wasting there.
Yeah. Exactly. So in that case, then it's not God actually that would be wasting it. It would be us.
Right. And I think that's where I think you would have to get into the weeds on the different religions, because the ones that believe in a hell would say that some of them would say that like God puts you there. Some of them would say that you put yourself there. And so it would be there'd be a differential between each one based on how they say we get there.
Gotcha. What are you thinking, Vybe?
Well, this is why I said I only got to 80%, right? Because it really is tough. This is related, and I'm trying to put it together while you guys are talking. So we're all kind of conceding, I think, for those that believe in the Bible, is that there is two hells, right? There's a period between now and the lake of fire in Revelation. Now,
no,
I wouldn't call the waiting period. I wouldn't call the waiting place a hell. And I don't think they actually really see it as being a hell either. It's a sleep, right? Where we sleep and wait. At least this is how I was brought up, was that when you die, you sleep and you wait for the return. And when Jesus comes back, the dead in Christ rise first.
Yeah, so I also read through interpretations that would agree with that, but I also do not believe that is what the Orthodox or Catholic believe. I believe that there is punishment happening in there, and the reason I was actually saying 1 and 2, right? So let's just say we're using hell like in the bad original manner, saying we're just calling it hell 1 and hell 2, but I guess we're looking at Sheol as basically it could be a temporary resting place. There is no torment. There is nothing happening. You are basically on ice until Judgment Day. I believe that there's another view that actually says that you are going to be punished during that period. And that was kind of what the whole thing with the poor man and the rich man was. Like, he's sitting there looking up, like he is conscious that somebody is immediately going to heaven, right? And then there is a question, are we all actually in limbo, even the people going to heaven? My understanding is those are going to heaven are there immediately. The hell part, the final destination, is a waiting period. Now, what's happening during that waiting period, I was going to bring up, could there be multiple levels of that, right? So like when God was judging the two cities, he actually judged them differently. He said, therefore, what is it, Sodom and Gomorrah? He said that one is going to get a stricter penalty. Now, is that stricter penalty happening during Revelation, or is it happening in that waiting period? And now, does that give us two different levels of hell 1, right? And there are multiple verses in the Bible that actually talk about different punishments for different deeds, right? And we even go to the point where we actually say the angels have been cast down for future judgment. So they haven't actually been judged yet. They may be thrown into the pit, or they may be judged not to be in there. So in the sense, now this is now I'm still working it out myself, right? And that's why this is a study. I'm not arguing any of these. I'm literally trying to sort it all out. But going to Cleaner's point, to bring it full circle, if nothing's wasted, is there this potential of basically everybody is executing their level of sin in whatever level it is, and at that point, if you actually finish whatever God finds justified, are you brought back into the system? Which is kind of the next topic I also was going to kind of go into, which is like, can you get out of hell 1 or hell 2, or are you forever there? And that would actually go twofold: 1, going there as a believer, and 2, going there as a non-believer. And what does that look like, right? I'm trying to consolidate exactly what Cleaner was saying. How can God make a perfect system that recycles everything and end up, like they always say, anything bad that happens, God turns into good? So how, in the end of the story, even if we don't understand it, can he make everything that was bad good? I know it's not the most put together, coherent thought. That's probably blowing me up right now.
I want to go down a quick line of questioning. I was kind of holding off on letting everyone get all their other stuff out. So I've been looking into a particular line of questioning because you don't believe that there's a hell per se. So there is a period where, after the rebellion, Satan is cast out into what's described as a bottomless pit for 1,000 years in Revelations 20. And he's there for about 1,000 years, and then for whatever unspoken reason, not in the Bible, it's in other sources, but I'm just going off of biblical canon here. For some unspoken reason, he is allowed to roam freely. He's no longer in that pit of endless torture that it was described he was in. To me, that kind of it seems like a little bit of a mix-up between the Old and the New Testament, because it's originally stated he was thrown into the pit that the Jewish religion was talking about as Sheol, yeah. So he was thrown into Sheol, and then 1,000 years later just re-emerged. But in later translations, he was bound to the lake of fire, and then just suddenly wasn't anymore. The only justification I can find is people theorizing, because free will is allowed and God wants people to be tested, that Satan's necessary as a force to keep around, essentially, and was released.
Well, I think that was what I was talking about with, all right, so there's going to come, my understanding, at least from what I was always taught growing up, is that there will be that period of time where, yes, he will rule over, Satan will rule over the world, and during that time, there will be the opportunity for more to come to faith and be redeemed.
Yeah,
that's my understanding. That's what I was raised to.
I'm more going after Vybe's point, though. Like, if these places don't exist, where exactly was this rebellion banished to? How were they able to escape 1,000 years later and torment the living world? And why? Like, why do they still exist? If there's no hell, where do they go? And how, in a sense, do we not end up there based on your views, essentially? I'm just looking at a biblical scripture that states it exists, so I don't know. I'm kind of trying to form the question off of all the shit I've been reading.
Vybe, you want to take this one?
No, you go for it. Which verse was that again?
What was that?
Which verse was that, Taylor, that you were talking about?
I'm looking at a lot of shit. I'm going through Matthew, Revelation, for different depictions of the Bible being, of Satan being released from this bottomless pit, as said in the Old Testament. 1,000 years later, is released from a bottomless pit. He's active, and Job mentions him, and other people. Like there's the Garden of. Man, I wish I knew these names a little better. Where Jesus has a conversation with, that was with God. Man, I'm all cross-wired right now, but I got a bunch of things in front of me. I can pull you out which one's which. But at the end of the day, it's Peter. Peter and Job both show that Satan's alive and active on the living world. And this is after he'd already been cast away to the pit. So at some point, that eternal damnation for Satan had ended. And what is...
Did it?
Yes. Otherwise, how the hell is he active? How is he...
Well, I mean,
nobody's been thrown in the
perhaps-
pit yet, or the fire of Lake of Fire yet. That has not happened yet.
Yeah, no, that doesn't happen yet. That's the big final judgment.
But what I'm reading is just after the rebellion, he was cast into a pit for 1,000 years. Is that not true?
After
think-
the rebellion,
Would this be the rebellion and him and 1/3 of all the angels were then
Yes.
basically put in a place of their own, which isn't the Lake of Fire, but in theory that would be their destination when that time comes. They would be, I think it was in the New Testament as Hades. Am I right? That's actually the place for them to be in this in-between period.
Yeah, so then they went to this purgatory we're talking about, that is what you're saying.
Yes.
And if that's what I also kind of assume that could be, and if that's the case, then is it really purgatory? Are they awaiting judgment there?
Yes. So, I mean, there is, let me pull that up. Right. So in Peter 2:4, for if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell, which was from the translation Tartarus, and committed them to the pit of darkness, reserved for judgment. Now, I'm curious what you guys think that means, but if they're reserved for judgment, that means that their final destination is not necessarily, it's still reserved, right?
I don't. That's a good question, and I think this is going to play back into exactly how Scripture tells us this is the judgment that is reserved for God alone, and we are not. We have no business or position, even guessing at what he is or isn't going to do.
Man, I will just say that fucking Milton and Dante did so much to ruin the canonicity of what actually. Like, I have to parse out
Milton's so
bullshit.
good.
And
I
even
love
when it's good,
Milton.
it's still like fan fiction that makes it so hard to research this shit properly. Because
You.
I'm constantly catching myself quoting them and realizing I'm doing shit wrong.
Yeah, Milton is a beautiful story. I mean, the way he writes Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained, absolutely wonderful. I haven't read Dante's works.
This is a problem in all culture. Believe it or not, more religious things are based off of plays and media, like Dante's Inferno. It's a divine comedy. It's a play, and most people's ideals of hell come directly from that. Like the whole purgatory idea. There's two hells in Dante's Inferno. The one
more than that. I think there's 9, right?
Well, there's. Let me talk.
Sorry.
There's a hell where people have basically already been judged, and that hell has 9 levels. Then there's another area that also has 9 levels, and that one is more things that you're able to redeem yourself from in some way. So, like as Dante's walking through that area, as he gets rid of his sins, the different guardians for each area wipe away the letter off of his head that's representing that particular sin. Where the other hell, there's no redemption in that one.
But again, though, you need to remember you're referencing essentially what is fan fiction.
Yeah. Well, that's the case. Most people carry that forward as their religion rather than religion.
They do. They do.
So I'm kind of curious, and this would be, I guess this would be an atheist asking this question, but when you said that's really just fan fiction, is that not what the Bible is? Just fan fiction in atheist minds and in the minds of some other religions?
In their minds, probably. However, when it comes to Dante and Milton, they would be considered, far more modern. They didn't even the time frame is so drastically separated. And that's not to like take a hit on them. Like I said, I mean, both of them were phenomenal authors. Paradise Lost is one of my favorite reads of all time. But
I guess the point behind asking that question is like there's a differential, obviously, between when we're willing to say something is a religion and it's not just like a fan fiction or a cult fiction or something like that. And so I think it steps into the realm of absurdity in like the atheist mindset whenever you say, well, this religion's heresy and fan fiction and not real, and this other religion is real. I think that is the real breakdown that a lot of atheists have whenever they're actually looking and trying to verify one religion versus another, or prove or disprove something, or if they're going through something in life and they're choosing to try to go to a religion, they get kind of pushed away from them by all this talk of everyone's heretics if you don't believe in a certain way,
Yeah, of course. I think that really at that point, I can understand exactly what you're saying. And I can even give some credence to it. I understand why they would see it that way, right? And I think everybody does. I think the thing comes down to the actual timing of when it's written, and the who knows who, and the tradition that's been held up for thousands and thousands of years, in comparison to when you look at writings like Milton and Dante, where there aren't churches that are created off of that, or traditions or rituals that are upheld. It doesn't actually follow the same suit. But I do get what you're saying. Absolutely. Excuse me for just 1 second.
I would disagree with that. I would say that more people religiously follow those things and know those things and worship those things than they do of anything out of the Bible.
Yeah, I'm talking about from like the atheist point of view, looking at it or coming towards a religion. Like I could see why whenever everyone's saying, well, my religion's the right one, all others are heresy, or something to that extent, right? Like they would be kind of put off, and why the beliefs get so kind of muddied for them, and why they end up turning back away from religion.
Well, again, most religions don't have that feature. That's a really very much an Abrahamic feature. A lot of other religions tended to play nicely together.
I don't know. I mean, we've kind of seen through history, even outside the Abrahamic religions, religions just go to bloodshed and war. Some of them even annihilating entire tribes or villages, completely destroying everybody that ever believed in something, so that they could not have to compete with that anymore. So I mean, I don't think it's completely restricted. I get what you're saying though, that it's like there's probably nowadays a lot less of them that are saying that. But I mean, even within that, like the beliefs that we have an understanding of is like there's a good place and a bad place to some degree, and whether or not we have like a defining characteristic for each, because none of us have been there. We have like these frames that we set up to try and explain them.
So I would state that a lot of those wars were just neighbors' war. They weren't particularly religious. Religious wars came with the Abrahamics because they want to be, that one in particular wants to be a monolith. That's not a feature that's in most religions, where that need to be a monolith happens. Like, as an Odinist, there's nothing in any of our works that say if you don't believe in Odin that you're a bad person that needs to be punished. Doesn't matter whether you believe in Odin or not. The way I'm supposed to interact with you is the way I'm supposed to interact with you. Your religious beliefs have nothing to do with it.
Well, what would be the differential within your religion that says someone's going to go to the quote-unquote good place or the not good place?
We also don't have a polarity like that. So there's not a good place and a not good place. There's one very bad place, and that's Nostrand, and that's where you are an oath breaker, a brother killer, the things that most of us are pretty well versed with. These aren't things that you do. And
that kind of sounds like a binary of some kind. That kind of sounds like
it's not. So then from there, you have like our normal hell, which is just somebody who needs to go restart in this lifetime. Then we have the one that's most well known is Valhalla, and a lot of people believe Valhalla is heaven, and it's not heaven in any way, shape, or form. Valhalla is specifically for shock troops. So there's a Ragnarok. For our world, things are cyclical, and a Ragnarok is an end of an era and then beginning of an era. There's a war at the end of every era. They're the shock troops to go to war with Odin. So it's not the best people. It's not the most deserving. It's actually the most vicious, joyful fighters. The ones that want to fight all day, every day. They've got their own place. The farm folk, they call it Folkvanger. They have their own place. Everybody's kind of got their own little place where they do their own thing according to who you were in this life. And there's only one that you would consider a punishment.
Can I challenge the statement that you were talking about non-Abrahamic religions being less religious supremacy?
You can challenge anything I say, brother.
Hinduism. During certain times, we have seen Hindus be very religious-based supremacy against Muslims. And the formation of Pakistan was actually because there were such massive clashes between Hindus and Muslims. We've seen Tibet with Buddhism be a massive issue for China. One of the major reasons why they've been trying to squash it out, kidnapping their Dalai Lama and such. And there's just different, in Asia specifically, there's a lot of different, Shintoism actually has a couple as well that I'm seeing here, where they massacred almost potentially 200,000 people based off of their religion as well. And then you go to South America and Native American tribes here prior to us coming in and making it great. There was a lot of intertribal hatred and animus and human sacrifice and such. Aztecs.
I'm not disagreeing that people fight. I'm disagreeing that it was as religious as we pretend like any of that was. Can you name me any of the gods that these Native American tribes were slaughtering each other over?
I have no idea. I'm sure somebody can, though, that went to college for it, but I can't. So, that being said, the fact that religion has always been an excuse for people to use
there you go
into their violent nature. So as long as a religion exists, I guarantee there's going to be religious base of violence existing because of it. So.
I mean, ancient Hinduism from like all the way as far back as like 4000 BC, from like cave walls that we've been able to discern what they're talking about, they had a belief in Kali, and they went to war destroying people over Kali. Like this, it's not just, what I'm saying is just, it's not restricted to just Abrahamic religions. I don't know if it's most or just some of them. I wouldn't attest to know that. We only know the charted history that we have. We don't even know if we're the first iteration of human beings to get to the literary format where we write the written word. There may have been hundreds of other trials that God had in the past where human beings got to the literary word and it all got destroyed. So we have no idea. All we know is what we have now that we can read and see, right?
I would also argue in the sense that if I was an atheist and say, well, let's say humans never came up with a concept of God, or as a religious person, God just hadn't exposed himself yet, right? There are no religions. And this would be a vibe, a feeling, right? I would bet my money that because of the differences in cultures, even if there wasn't a God or a religion involved, that there would still be the exact same amount of wars.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, people find a reason to fight. Sure.
Sorry, am I cutting somebody off?
No, you go right ahead. We were both just started talking at the same time, so you go ahead.
Sorry, love. So you can even see in scripture where there were ancient wars specifically targeted based on their faith by other faiths against the Abrahamic religions, right? where there were plenty.
Oh, you're talking about like the Jew stories where everybody was against the Jews, and then at the end of it, they own their land and stuff, and that keeps happening repetitively throughout.
Not even necessarily just that. Like,
I mean, that's very suspect. It's very suspect.
You can see with the enslavement prior to the Exodus. You can see.
Oh, you mean when they built the pyramids and all that?
You can see with what was the other one I had in my mind?
I think what Beth's trying to illustrate is just that even the Abrahamic religions have been attacked because they were Abrahamic religions. It's not without. It's not without merit.
So they say. They still say that shit.
We do see it in the world
Starbucks puts a mermaid on the cup, and the Abrahamics are like, they're attacking Christmas.
My point is that it goes both ways.
Yeah,
just as how people will love to claim the monotheistic Abrahamic faiths are constantly at war over their beliefs, we can see all the way back in ancient times where even ancient Egypt, which was polytheistic, enslaved the Hebrews. And other tribes did the same thing, even the Romans. The Romans occupied Israel for how many years? It was like at least 1,000, right? Or at least close to it. So it does go both ways.
Just because someone identifies something and has a reaction that you or someone else may think is ridiculous doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't having that reaction because of a valid claim. So
sure.
I mean, you can go, oh, they're assaulting my religion, but you know what? Maybe that person's right, and they actually are.
Yeah.
You never know.
You think a Starbucks cup is assaulting Christianity?
I don't give a crap about Starbucks.
That's not what I said.
That's what they're saying.
That's not what I said.
That's not what we're talking about. Okay, I specifically brought up ancient wars, ancient times.
Well, the ones that are recorded in the Bible, nowhere else. Yeah.
I'm not even bringing up with like building pyramids and that kind of things. You can totally see with the occupation of Israel by the Romans. That's a perfect example. That went on forever, and they were people there, and it wasn't like, sure, it's based on more of
the Bible.
Well, the Bible didn't fully exist at that time, right?
Well, I mean, any of those writings, that's only in the Bible.
It's documented. No, that's not true. It's documented outside of it. I've actually been to the site. I've been to the site in Israel where it's documented.
I just want to see if I understand. I just want to see if I understand what you're saying correctly, Ben.
Please.
Are you saying that you think that nowhere throughout history, nowhere throughout time, that the Abrahamic religions haven't been attacked for being Abrahamic religions? Because that's kind of how you're approaching this. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think that that small hats are fabulous liars, and that they like to project, and they still do this today. It's part of their religion, even, where they will say you are the bad guy while they're doing the shiesty shit. And that's part of their religion. So them having a story where, they made us their slaves and attacked us, but then our God won and we owned all their stuff. But then we were the slaves to these people. But then our God, he won and we owned all their stuff. And that just a repetitive story in the Bible.
So, just so you understand, Ben, what you're doing right now is specifically attacking an Abrahamic religion for being an Abrahamic religion.
No, I'm
doing their own thing within their religion.
I am the internet
you're proving what I was saying.
I am the internet version of
real quick, Tyler, real quick, and I'm going to hand it to you.
Different thing.
Tyler, real quick, and I'm going to hand it on over to you. Here's the thing: is I'm not even bringing up their ethnicity or the fact of the small hats. It's very interesting that you jump straight to that.
That's who wrote the Old Testament.
Let me finish, sir. Okay.
That's who we're talking about.
I'm bringing up before this was this wasn't even the way that you are portraying it did not exist at this time, and this was thoroughly documented by the other civilizations too. do you think these stories just came from the Bible and that's it? No, I've actually been to the fucking sites, the Roman sites in Israel, where they fucking memorialized what they were doing there in ancient times.
It's not even Israel. That's
before Jesus. I've been in.
they put up a plaque about
amazing.
something. So
Tyler, it is all yours, my love.
All right, as the internet version of Iron Dome, Israel, the righteous, wonderful state's greatest internet warrior, I am here to defend the small-headed people. These small-headed people are the most oppressed group in human history. They've been attacked by every single major religion, including the monotheistic Greek and Roman religions. On top of that, those are polytheistic and the monotheistic Muslim religion. Right now, they're in the middle of a war because they were attacked in a 6-front attack coordinated by 2 more Arab nations that are majority Muslim to annihilate Israel. 6 fronts attacked them to wipe them out. And the only reason that they didn't lose is because they are God's chosen people. They are here to stay and usher in, what do you guys call it? Salvation?
It would be, oh shit.
All right, and I was going to pause this a little bit, like bring us back on topic a little bit ago, but I also knew that Taylor just did a debate on this, so I figured I'd let him go in on the Israel piece. But we are on the topic hell, not the topic of Israel. Not that I don't want to skirt the topic, but I would skirt it to a different show. So if we all want to jump on this week and actually do this discussion, I'm down for it. But I want to divert it from there.
Sure. Sorry, bud.
He does it without laughing too. It was pretty decent.
Can I just get an answer to my question from Ben first? Because he did kind of derail and sideline, and I'm asking a very specific question here, Ben. Do you believe that Abrahamic religions have never throughout history been attacked for being an Abrahamic religion? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares about what their God is. I think that they act like shitheads. I think that if you got kicked out of over 100 different apartments and you came to me and said, well, I've been kicked out of 100 apartments, they were all shitheads, I'd be like, yeah, move the fuck on, buddy. You're obviously the shithead.
Wow.
That's a fair.
I know. Wow. That's
you're
if you were an apartment owner, you would definitely let that guy in.
I think you're doing a really bad fallacy here where you're overgeneralizing an entire population of people based off of 5 or 6 people or maybe a few more that have a very bad behavior. And I think that's very just disingenuous to do.
Have they been kicked out of over 100 countries?
You're monolithing, just like Tyler just said, you're monolithing a whole people based off of the interactions on a few bad ones.
For starts, Jews are religion. It's not even a people. Do I think that there's decent Hebrew people?
You don't think they're people? Did you just say Jews aren't people? Is that what you just said?
I heard it.
No, I said Jew is not a people. Hebrew is a people. Open your ears.
He's going Farrakhan.
It is an ethnicity.
Judaism is the religion primarily of the Hebrew people.
Yeah, I think what the point the cleaner was trying to say here is that of the Jews in Israel, there are many of them that do not practice Judaism. Therefore,
so they wouldn't be a Jew then; they'd be a Hebrew, and they're fine in my book.
Okay.
So you have a threshold breaker somewhere in there for what is someone who is horrible people and what isn't. Then is what you're saying.
100%.
It's just kind of crazy in my mind that you would monolith an entire religion of people just based off a handful of bad eggs. That's crazy.
It's a horrible religion.
And to deny history that was thoroughly documented, like I said, by other civilizations. It happened,
it's not.
People would say the same thing about those who believed in Odin and whatnot because they went out raping and pillaging entire villages and it was fucking horrible.
They didn't.
And they did it in Odin's name. They would scream by Odin, and they go into battle and destroy.
Did you enjoy that movie?
About that religion.
Did you enjoy that movie? Because it's not historical. Why don't you go ahead and read Tacitus sometime? Germania. Not only did they not go rape and pillage, they wouldn't even have sex outside of their own people. That's why they were all these wonderful, giant, blue-eyed, reddish, and blonde-haired people. Try reading actual history. Jesus.
I've read, dude, my kid
You
is
read
going to
the
be...
Bible.
I don't even need the Bible in order to go and actually see these historical sites that still exist to this day. I've actually been to Israel, okay?
The Israel that just started existing in the 40s.
Take Israel out of it, Benjamin. Let's take Israel out of it. Let's talk about Egypt for a second, which thoroughly documented the Hyksos expulsion. And who were the Hyksos? Do you know? They were Semitic people from Israel.
Did they go to hell for that?
For expelling them out of their country? I would hope not, because then a whole lot of countries are going to go to hell for that.
That's fair. That's fair. I wouldn't disagree with that.
I'm not saying any of this.
And look, Ben,
is going to hell. Again, that's not number one. That would be a silly basis to put it on, just because you kick someone off of your land. It doesn't even meet the qualifications for redemption scripturally. But even then, it's up to God. It's not my place or business to decide who is or is not going to hell or to speak on it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, Ben, I haven't read all of the texts having to do with your religion myself either. I've only read a couple of books that had to do with like ancient lore and history of it. But yeah, you're right. There may have been lots and lots of times that somebody didn't do that. Entire religion.
Douchebag rape in a thing? Absolutely.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying is like, just because you have a few people in a religion, it would be kind of disingenuous to monolith everyone in that religion as being a horrible person if you don't know if they're actually a horrible person. You see what I'm saying? That's what I was trying to get at.
So, in their religion, are they God's chosen people and everybody else gets to be a goyim? And that means that they're there to serve God's chosen people?
That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is you, from the outside of their religion, looking at them. If you see somebody and you say, oh, well, just because of their religion, they're a horrible person, you're literally attacking their religion with your beliefs.
Hold on. I just took a little dive into the Viking age between the 8th and 11th century, and there are documented times where Viking raiders attacked trade ships, they attacked kingdoms, and they intentionally desecrated Christian sites. They saw themselves as superior because they were winning all these battles against foreign adversaries. And in the Annals of Ulster of 821 CE, record Viking carried off numbers of women from Ireland in order to take them as female slaves for sexual purposes. Also documented the saga accounts, Laxdœla saga, mentioned using captives as
yeah, you know, during the Viking era, they were primarily Christian, right? I'm just throwing that out there. And and prior to that, when they attacked holy sites, you can't leave out that the Christians burnt down ours right before that.
Hey, they burned down each other's.
On top of them, you leave out the cutting of Donar's tree. You leave out the cutting of Yggdrasil. You leave out the slaughtering of the Danesgeld.
I'm not saying that there wasn't reasons for it. There wasn't an escalation. What I'm saying,
it wasn't because of Christianity. It wasn't because you had a different God.
Excuse me. What? When exactly are you claiming that they were Christianized?
There's been a heavy Christianization since 700-800 on.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say.
Tyler, when were they taking people against their will?
This was around 900. It's documented 821 CE. I'm not sure what CE means because I'm not a history nerd.
CE is going to be modern era, and it's looking very much like it did not start becoming Christianized till 965 CE.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, these were Viking hordes, and they often would do offerings to Odin before battle. This is documented in Ea Bygra saga. Sorry.
No,
All right, guys. I'm going to bring it back again because just
Sorry,
like we weren't
Vybe,
here to
sorry.
attack the Israel, we're also not here to attack the Vikings either.
Sure.
They
I
did
want
enough
the
attacking
Vikings
in their time.
to be tough. You know, I like it.
Yeah, they
Oh
were
yeah,
all-
no, I mean, hey, these are all
the
great
Viking era
discussions, you know.
wasn't about Odin though. Most of the Vikings were not even Odin. Didn't even follow Odin. The Christianization had heavily happened by then.
Yeah, we
All
were
right.
on a weird road.
Okay.
So to bring us back in here, you know, we went through, is hell in the Bible? I gave you guys my interpretation of that. We talked about multiple hells. This is kind of one thing that I hate about being a Protestant, my particular flavor is Baptist, and that's why I've been meeting with my pastor more often because of these studies, because I'm trying to figure it out. I do love it that like I can talk to an Orthodox person and they can say, well, I actually have no interpretation of this. This is what it is. Although I still kind of see that as their interpretation. I do not see myself as being educated well enough to make my own interpretation. But that's why I love having these discussions, right? And looking at all these different things and talking to different people, and even outside of our own religion. We started going off was when we were talking about like the fanfare canonization of the Bible, like with Milton and Dante's Inferno and things like that. I think it is a shame when I am talking to somebody and trying to make a logical, non-theological debate, but they know I'm Christian and they throw in some type of Christian thing about what they think I believe. The majority of atheists do have this conception that I believe what Dante's Inferno is, Milton, yeah, and even some of the Germanic or Greek theologies out there, all mixed in this hyper insane non-real version of what it actually says.
To be fair, that is what Dante's Inferno is. It's kind of a mush of a bunch of them.
Yeah, but it also has made up stuff in there, you know. And but here I say that against atheists. Unfortunately, also in some of my own studies I do with men, I find that a lot of Christians have never been educated outside of that, and they also believe in these stories that actually are not part of the canon that we would consider official. So I mean, that is also kind of a shame. And then I look at myself in this study here, and I'm like, damn, like I'm at least aware that I don't understand it, and I'm kind of ashamed on how little and how much more I still have to learn and to try to like navigate it all and learn it all. Which kind of brings me, you know, into the next piece, right? Which was, and we were starting to talk about this, like was kind of the escape of hell. And I thought Ryan probably would have spoken up on this, because I know one thing that you hear from a lot of atheists, and I want to give your guys' thoughts on this, is you'll hear them say, you know what, I'm not too worried about not believing in God because I believe, or not atheists, I should say agnostics. There are a lot of agnostics will say, I'm not really concerned if I don't believe in God as long as I'm a good person. And I believe in the stories of like the New Testament. I believe like, you know, treat your neighbor well, treat yourself, you know, like I believe in a lot of these things. I think if I do right, even if I don't believe in God or your God, I'm going to go to heaven, because the God that I believe in would never send me to this horrible place. However, on the other side, if you actually think about what heaven is, this is a place where you're supposed to love God and God's supposed to love you. And that's what it's all about. And your whole life on the planet as atheist or agnostic, you go, well, I choose not to do that. I don't want to do that. Wouldn't it be horrible at your death if you made that choice? Then he goes, oh, I don't care what you thought. I'm going to pull you in here and love you the way you didn't want to be loved anyways. Or actually allow you what you accepted, which was the place where you don't love him, right? Where nothing loves him. He's basically not forcing you to go to where he's given you an open invitation. But if you don't want to go there, why should he accept you when you die, right? And I'm just curious what everybody else's thoughts are on that whole idea. And I don't even know if it works the same in Odinism, right? Let's say, you know, like if you do everything right, but you say F you Odin every day and like poop on his grave, like is he still going to bring you in? Like, you know, what is everybody's thoughts on that type of what a lot of atheists think is unfair? It's unfair. I don't get to go there.
That's part of what that's what I was bringing up before with the freedom of will we do get to choose where we're going, and then Scripture is very, very clear. Acts without, while yes, we do get some credit and consideration for our acts on earth. Acts are dead without faith, and vice versa. You have to have them both.
I don't know. I see this fair. If I'm not going to participate in your club, I shouldn't get to go to the monthly pizza party you guys throw. So.
Damn good pizza, Tyler. Your wife will get you there. Don't worry.
But doesn't that I like the way Tyler put that. Does that kind of give us the question then? If there are multiple clubs, are there multiple gods, and are there multiple club pizza parties that you could go to after we're done?
Well, that's where we have God with, big G, and often, the fallen angels, which are the ones that are already locked up and essentially influencing for the quote-unquote evil in the world. They're often referred to as gods with a lowercase g.
Not gonna lie though, if we get to pick 72 virgins,
I don't want 72 virgins. I do not want to have to teach 72 ladies after I pass how to do what I want them to do. Fuck that shit. No.
That sounds horrible.
I don't.
That's
no.
She didn't find that funny.
I laughed at it.
In Odinism, your belief or non-belief in Odin doesn't have any bearing on you where you go. It's all about what you do and how you act in this life. And there's many different places to go.
I'll take
I don't
my
expect
one.
I'll go to Valhalla. I wouldn't even want to go to Valhalla. The idea of getting up and fighting to my death every day and then getting drunk and then getting up and doing it again the next day sounds fucking horrible.
Oh, that sounds fucking awesome to me. I'd love that.
See, what's interesting is ancient Egyptians have a similar thing where, they get up every night and they have to go through all this stuff and go on this quote-unquote adventure where they have to complete all these tasks and whatnot. And then they're back dead again for the day and come back to life at night. It's interesting to see that rhetoric repeated over throughout the polytheistic religions.
Whereas, you guys are polytheistic also.
Whereas
you call them angels instead of gods.
Look, hey,
it's the same idea.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I absolutely support the claim of the polytheistic gods. I just see them, honestly, in my belief structure, those are the fallen angels. They are not as powerful as their creator. They are more powerful than us, which is why they get the lowercase g, because most humans, if you interacted with one, you would think it's a god, right? Based on the supernatural powers that it have. So by all means, I'm not denying the existence.
So how's a non-fallen angel any different? It has supernatural powers that are much greater than any human, and humans worship them. They walk around with their little things to Michael or Gabriel or whatever. How is that any different than the All-Father having other beings underneath him that are not the All-Father?
There is a difference between worshiping and, I guess, calling on for help, right? Or believing that these entities will act on God's behalf to protect us in some way, shape, or form, right? That there's a huge.
You have one head God and a bunch of underling beings. I have one head God who has a bunch of underling beings. How is it different?
That's the thing, is it's not.
You're still polytheistic. You're just using a different word.
No, they're not gods. They're not gods. Just because
you call them angels.
Just because you
made up a different word, but they share the same characteristic.
I can't finish the sentence. Just because they have more abilities than we do as human beings does not make them a god. There is one God who created all of it.
There's one All-Father.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, based on the stories that come out of the polytheistic religions and the structure of them, it's different. You know, you're worshiping it. My religion, my belief structure would say that you are worshiping the lesser beings, whereas
we're aware of the way you guys see it. It's ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous, but we're aware of it. And it's no different than our setup. We have Odin. Even if I'm partial to Thor, even if I'm very partial to Thor, Odin's still the All-Father.
What's interesting is God's
still God.
What's interesting is that I validated your belief structure and didn't call it ridiculous.
No, you're
driven.
Your supposition that yours is above ours and that ours is fallen angels, that's the ridiculous part.
I said.
See, you can say you validated it, but you validated it as being lesser than yours. So that's the ridiculous part. Yeah.
This is, I mean, here's the truth. To you, ours is lesser for sure.
No, to me, you're not.
How's that? I mean, does Odin support that God is a
It's just from a different region. I don't care what the Israelites do.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about them.
That's where this religion comes from, is it not? Is it not?
Well, you have many people who
and mine comes from Germania. Mine comes from Germania. I don't care what the Israelites in their thing do. You can hump camels and drink goat's milk and do whatever. I don't care.
Cool. But the thing is, I didn't sit here and insult your belief structure.
Oh, you did. You put it as lesser than yours.
Welcome.
That's that casual shitting on.
See,
I'm less casual about it.
First of all, I explained.
Passive aggressive, massive aggressive.
I explained what my belief structure says without insulting you. But you
No, you did. You passively insulted.
Really?
I just do it very upfront.
I'm so sorry that you.
Are fallen angels bad? Or are they awesome? Are fallen angels bad?
According to
Are they the bad guys?
According to my belief structure, yes.
And my guy is one of them?
The differential between a polytheistic structure and a monotheistic structure is that a monotheistic
you weren't really saying anything fucking nice, were you?
A monotheistic structure has a god, and then there are other beings under them that serve them, but they don't call them a god. A polytheistic structure has more than one god. That's it. That's the difference. It's how we look at it.
You guys named yours Angel. It has the exact same characteristics.
What's the point?
No, they don't.
The point is it's the same system. You just use a different word.
Sure, we use different words to define different things. That's fair. Why does that matter?
Not to define different things. It's the same thing. But you guys want to pretend like you're.
You already said it's a different religion.
You're not.
Like you already said,
you're not
religion. So it's different things. Like it doesn't matter. I don't understand why we're arguing about this. It's a semantic that actually doesn't matter in the context of hell.
It definitely matters.
How?
It definitely matters.
How is this the stream I'm late to?
And they're trying to make a differentiation. And I'm telling you, it's not. It's exactly the same.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It's not the same.
You're saying that
you have one religion, one head god, and then a bunch of under beings that aren't the head god, but are more powerful than humans.
Can I hear what Cleaner was trying to say, please? Cleaner, could you please repeat yourself, dear?
I was just saying, if you're saying that one religion that says it has multiple gods and structures its beliefs around multiple gods and one god being the head of all the gods, and another belief structure says it has one god and there are other entities that support that god, while those entities may be stronger than us, they're not gods, we call them something different. You're saying those two religions are exactly the same. Is that
take out the word God? Right? I know this is tripping you up. Take the word God out. You have one all-powerful being, and then under beings underneath that, and then humans. Guess what? We have one all-powerful being, head God. Then we have under beings that serve head God. Then we have humans. Same thing.
I get what you're saying, but the thing is, words have meanings.
I'm aware.
Like
Well,
this is the problem we have right now.
And making up a new word for a same thing.
It's not
All
the
it's
same
trying
thing,
to do
though.
is give you guys some superiority you don't fucking have.
We're just
It's
repeating
not the
ourselves.
same thing.
It is.
Can we welcome Dusty real quick?
Tomato, 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 tomato.
No,
Same
not the
thing.
same. Nope.
Same
All
thing.
right, let's all agree to disagree on this one.
Yes.
No,
because
I
we're just
won't
going in
agree to
circles,
disagree.
right?
If
So-
you want to move on, we can. But I won't agree to disagree. But if you want to move on, I understand we can. I think this is ridiculous, but I won't agree to disagree. with them
I do too.
because words have meaning.
Because you're like, no, this one's a tomato. No, this one's a tomato. They're totally different.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying either one of you guys have to agree or concede. I'm allowing you both not to concede for the sake of moving on. Because I don't see what it offers to this. But something that is great about this particular conversation is the next episode is the study of the Nephilim and
can we
sons of
define
God
it
and
God?
the giants, right? And this actually all goes directly into how we break down that system versus how you guys do. So I mean, if you want to line them up the same and we don't, like, I mean, that's our opinions. So I'm cool with that, and I think next week kind of goes into a little bit more of that hierarchy and how that all works. It's one of the more confusing things of the Bible, because the Bible really doesn't go into our God structure or like the structure of angels. It's just like some angels showed up here and there, unless you look at some of the books that were not included in the canon, like Enoch, Jubilees. There's a lot more definition of like what happened, like where do these guys come from, what is their purpose, so I think that's an interesting conversation, but I don't think it moves this particular conversation forward at all. So I apologize, Benjamin, if you feel like you were insulted.
No, I'm fine.
And same thing, Beth, if you feel like you were insulted.
Not at all.
I do want to welcome...
I'm insulted that I've been here for like 5 minutes and I haven't fought anybody yet.
I can't believe that you've been quiet this whole time. I was actually, because I know with your ADHD,
I thought he was jacking off.
Talking as quick as I can.
I am.
I knew it. What's up, Taylor?
I mean, like, I know that Ben can hold down the like, I kind of feel like I don't have a job anymore, Ben.
I know it, right?
You're freaking out at the Christians. What am I going to do?
I'm going to have to settle down over here. Give me 2 dabs.
2 dabs would kill me. I did 2 dabs, the only time I ever did dabs, and it was the end of the night for me. After Jimmy John's arrived.
Yeah, you got to get that in there.
But if I picked up the conversation right, and I'm not trying to drag it back up, but it seems to me that it would be useful to just define what is a god, right? And the attributes of a god. And then if we can agree that things like, I don't know, being immortal, shit like that. I don't know, whatever. Where are we going? Where are we going, Vybe? Is hell real? It sounded from what I heard earlier like you don't think that hell is do you think hell is real?
I do. And
okay. Even though it's not biblical? Didn't I hear that?
No, so I was basing it more on the translation that was used in the English of hell, and in some Bibles that like translate 5 different words that all have different meanings in the Old and New Testament, all to the one word hell, and that one word came from the Germanic languages that there have been some past misinterpretations of hell. So I actually was kind of arguing that the actual word hell itself, the hell that we think of through Dante's Inferno and things like that, is not necessarily a fact of the Old Testaments. There is Sheol, there is the lake of fire, there's these different things that were all translated the same word that actually have different purposes in the conversation. But the concept of this hell, which sometimes is borrowed from like the actual idea of the Greek Hades versus the Christian Hades, and Sheol and the lake of fire have been borrowed from Germanic religions, which I don't think is healthy for it, but because they have similar context, just like we're arguing right now. Like, I mean, Benjamin can say, no, my hell's the same as your hell. They're both the place that you go when you make a mistake. And I would say that's not a right definition, right? I would say we actually define.
I didn't say that, to be clear. That was just an example.
Yeah, I was just giving like an example. If you were to say that, I mean, you are the other way around, right? But
I'm saying our structuring is the same. I'm not saying our gods are the same. I'm saying the structuring is the same, but they've changed. They just, for ours, they just use one word, gods. But there's no recognition that we have an all-father who is the creator God, and then underling gods that serve
Zeus.
that God.
I
Wouldn't
have
that be
a
Zeus.
I have a very interesting question about hell. Now this is a question
I've got this
I had a
thick
long
cut
time ago.
bologna
You actually just
seasoned
made
on-
me think of this one, Ben, and it's kind of curious to me. So, do you think that like the Christian God, like he says he's a jealous God, right? So do you think that the Christian God like put all the other gods that used to be so vocal to humanity into purgatory, and that's why we don't hear from any of them anymore?
I don't hear from your Christian God either. So, I mean,
Yeah, he's a quiet God. He doesn't talk to us directly. I mean, all the time. Like, I guess there may have been something.
Absentee father.
But that doesn't answer the question. I like how you always dodge questions and don't answer them directly.
well,
So
I'm
do you
saying
think
I
that
wouldn't
maybe-
expect to
do
hear
you
from
think
any
maybe-
God. I've never heard of anybody
you think
talking
maybe
to
like the Christian God-
Odin has talked to me.
Do you think maybe the Christian God took all those other, I guess some people say false gods. I just say other gods, and put them in purgatory, and that's why we don't hear from them anymore. They used to appear to people.
What
Oh,
holidays
yeah,
do you
I heard about that
celebrate,
for a long
Cleaner?
time.
What holidays do you celebrate? I don't know
Well,
why
we
you.
had-
I don't know
well, we
why
had
you think that the
spoken
Jewish
directly to-
God. Yeah, I mean, you do Christmas trees, you do Easter bunnies, you do Halloween. Come on, man. You're
I'm
just
just
in
curious.
denial, but you're celebrating the pagan gods' holidays.
I'm actually asking a question still, and you don't know what.
It doesn't
holidays they
sound like it.
celebrate.
It sounds like you're taking a shot.
You don't know what holidays they celebrate. I'm just saying, like the
I asked you.
representation of the Christian God, right? The God that is like, jealous and doesn't want us believing in other gods. Do you think that like there might have been like some fight between all the gods, and like that God put all the others in purgatory, so to speak, and that's why we
He
don't
killed
hear-
his son, so he wouldn't have to stress about it.
I'm curious. This is a genuine curiosity question.
So I have directly interacted with Odin. He is active. Does he have less followers? Absolutely, than he did at the time. I think that the followers of these gods will interact with each other, kill each other off, and I in my opinion, there's their presence in our zeitgeist is driven by the followers of it. That doesn't really change whether it's there or not, and so the more followers you have, the more heavily that's going to be in the zeitgeist.
So, was that a yes or a no?
No, it's a no. I said I've been interacting with Odin directly. He's not gone.
Ah, okay.
See, it wasn't a question. It was an antagonistic shot.
No, I was curious.
Cleaner. No, you're not. You're
If
being
it
a
was
douche.
antagonistic,
And you're-
I'd have continued in on him and pestered him.
Well,
about
Cleaner, let's-
Let's
Let's talk about what day you celebrate as the Sabbath. Let's talk about how what holidays you celebrate. Like the concept of hell is a pagan concept. Everything about your religion except for the name is pagan. Cleaner.
What are you defining as pagan?
Nordic, European pagan gods.
Most of your ideas have been
No, I don't-
have been lifted off of us, and that you don't follow your original works.
Well, see,
Yeah.
and that was kind of my opening on this, was trying to separate what is talked in our Old Testament and New Testament from the stealing of the Nordic hell from Loki, and using that as the specific word in the English translation, because our hell doesn't actually line up with their hell, and Hades, right? I actually don't like that word being used even in the original ones, because there's also the Greek Hades, which is an underworld that is different than the hell that is actually described in the Bible. And then we have Dante's Inferno and Milton and things like that, where even Tyler was trying to like look up information, and it gets all crossed all over the place. So where you say we steal from that, I don't think we necessarily stole, but I do think there is a misconception, even among Christians themselves, that some of their idea that actually isn't written in the Bible is their ideas of what hell is.
It's a melting pot,
I mean-
because the morality of the United States stole technically from the Christian morality in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It's a melting pot. We all come together, you know. We all make our holidays. Our government, the people who give us our rights through legislation written on paper because they're not inalienable, they also give us our holidays.
What you got to look at is who is ruling over the people at the time that these things are established. Okay, because to the victor goes the spoils, right? They say what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, who you're going to pray to, the whole nine. And that's where a lot of that stuff does get picked up along the way, because we do see after, primarily after Constantine, we see that heavy.
Shout out to my great grandpa.
Yeah, your great grandpa gave that heavy Roman flair into Christianity, whereas I personally still see the Sabbath as being on Saturday.
Well, I mean, you know, Constantine, the one who had the Bible, had it canonized in the first place and
Lord.
So I mean,
we had this argument weeks ago.
To answer your question, Dusty, I would say personally, I would say it would be disingenuous for anybody to say that one religion hasn't affected another in some way, or their holidays or something like that. You know,
if they've bumped up against each other, yeah.
I definitely think it's fair to say that some of the holidays may have gotten moved time wise, or you know, because I know there was like for the Roman Catholic time, when Rome and the Catholic religion came together, the Romans brought us like the celebration of Saul, which was the end of the year, which turned into us celebrating Christmas at the end of the year rather than, you know, another time. So, I mean, I understand that there's been influences on the religions and things like that.
Yeah, you guys can look at like the Jehovah's Witnesses, right? They don't celebrate Christmas because it's not mentioned in the Bible.
They don't celebrate anything, do they?
I'm not well versed on them, but I do know that they don't celebrate Christmas because they feel like it is an act against God, because it's basically a pagan ritual. Now, something I can concede to, I mean, I know that Christmas is Christ Mass, right? It's a Mass for Christ, celebrating his birth, and I don't think God has a problem with that. The Christmas tree itself is not Christian and did start coming in from old traditions. But my children aren't sitting there when they celebrate Christmas. We go to Mass, we celebrate Christ, and they have no idea, like, and even like the candles on the tree, that didn't come from Christianity either. However, what they're worshiping is Christ, right? So I don't care if the tree, if you can line up a Christmas tree to a pagan religion way back in the day. However, we're celebrating Christ. My kids there's no pagan ritual to our Christmas in my family, and I would guess pretty much the same with most Christians, right? Now, if people were actually going, well, I'm a Christian, but I'm also a secret pagan, so I'm gonna stick this Christmas tree in there, and on the side worship this other pagan god. Now we have a problem, right? Now there's a problem. So
I don't think it needs to be a problem, though, right? Because we're really just talking about attribution, and I think that if you're Christian and you celebrate Jesus' birthday on the winter solstice, which, I mean, like, because God created the seasons then too, right? There's no reason why you wouldn't have seasonal festivals, like why you can't wrap them all in one, I guess. I don't.
Yeah.
So I agree with you completely. It's all about the focus of what it is that you're celebrating, right? We're not celebrating the pagan part of it. We're celebrating Jesus.
But this is how you end up with a ritual that's meaningless. This is how you lose all of that. So the reason that it's called theft is because in a very Alexander the Great style, Alexander the Great left this blueprint where the common people, they don't care if you change the name. As long as your days off are still the same, your holidays are the same, and your rituals are very similar. They don't care. So you can come in and change the name of the governor. I got to pay Chris 10%, or I got to pay Kyle 10%. I don't really give a shit whether it's Chris or Kyle. I just care that it's 10%.
How do you not understand that this is not theft? This was a matter of.
It definitely is. So that way you can overtake Northern Europe.
At the time that it was established, Rome was in control, and Rome.
You took over Northern Europe.
Not of Northern Europe.
Beth, you took
Yeah,
over
I mean-
Northern Europe.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's
It mu-
yeah. I just don't know that it matters.
it really
it-
doesn't. The big one
it-
for my. Sorry.
Well,
It most definitely does.
No.
Again, rituals aren't supposed to be mindless. Rituals have meaning, and that's
and
why you
if you
do
look
set
at-
rituals.
if you look at Easter, those are clearly rituals that are seasonal, right? It's
That's
spring,
true.
the bunnies, the eggs, right? And I'm not saying this like so that anybody gets defensive. Like I don't think it needs defended. Those are pagan rituals. They have nothing to do with Jesus. They don't.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact,
And I don't think that that's an issue if you want to choose that time to recognize Jesus, right? But I think it's a non-issue.
I agree with you completely. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of times where Easter is sometimes an entire month away from Passover, whereas Passover, the Seder was, or it was the Seder or the one before was the night before was the Last Supper. So if Easter were about resurrection, then it would be 3 days after Passover, after the first Passover Seder. And that's why in my household, we keep it that way. That's when we say, I don't care what the calendar says, we celebrate Resurrection Day 3 days after Passover. And yes, I make a full Passover Seder, and it's wonderful.
Passover was before they left Egypt, right?
It starts there. That's where the ritual, or the ritual begins. Is the night of the death of the firstborn.
It seems to me like the issue all arises from Christians' need to be superior in their religion. Like honestly,
What religion doesn't?
I guess I'm not religious, so mine.
I mean, if you look at it, right,
Jesus's religion.
we're taught that to be saved, we have to act a certain way, and we're also taught, and I don't think it's a superiority complex, but part of our teaching is if you see somebody suffering next to them, one, like go reach out, help them, and share the word that made your life better. And if you don't share your word, like that's a bad thing. Like if you believe this, why wouldn't you share this great thing that you believe with somebody else? The idea is to share it, and because we share it, now all of a sudden we are egotistical. We think we're superior.
It was sharing it with a sword that was.
What is help? This is not requested help. This is
Maybe share a
non-consensual.
sandwich with them. That would
Yeah.
make it feel better.
Share some super chats. Share some,
There's a lot of
Benjamin, that's
Christians who
actually
do take it too
that's
far.
what we
Dustin.
do.
And I disagree with it. I don't think we should be taking Christians should be taking it as far as they do in some circumstances.
No,
because
you do
God
the
did-
exact same thing, Beth. You do the exact same thing. All of you
Just
on the
because
top row
I-
do it.
Just because I share it doesn't mean I'm not beating you over the head with the Bible, right?
No, you're not.
Oh, I don't.
I'm not
No,
telling you you're going to go to hell. I'm not telling you have to
No.
become a Christian.
But you believe that, right? It's
I
inherent to Christianity. We've been over this, right? There is baked into it, just as there is in Islam and Judaism, right? All these I don't know about paganism. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, right? It's baked into the fabric of the religion. There's a superiority complex. Absolutely, and that's there.
I don't do
It's a
that.
different perspective.
I don't-
Is all. That's just a different perspective. They believe this, so from their perspective, if you don't listen
Right.
to it, then you're fucked. So they're
Well,
just trying
from
to-
their
they're just trying to
perspective-
help you.
From their perspective, we're going to be recycled into the torture forever because we're not as good as them, right?
No, I don't. believe that at all.
don't. You don't want to do it again. We've been down this road. It's mandatory. The math doesn't math otherwise.
I still stand by what I said, what I've said to you every single time, and that is that the ultimate decision at the end of everything, including
Well, I
like
know.
the additional rain, is not my decision, and I have no business.
Yeah.
No
You're
shit.
just shooting
Nobody
the
ever's ever
messenger.
saying it was.
You're shooting the
I know.
messenger here. Beth's just the messenger. She's just trying to save
Right.
your fucking soul.
I'm-
Your
And-
heathenistic
but I
soul.
also
I,
We
respect
all
I
do
know
it.
that you're not God. Don't worry. I know that you're not God. What I'm saying is that your belief system inherently is
get
one
what
of
you're saying.
superiority. There's no way around it. If you
I
believe
get
that everybody who believes different from you is getting scrapped by God, that's a superiority complex. I'm not offended by it. You don't need to defend the position. I'm just saying it is what it is.
They're just telling you how the world is from their belief set. And they're not saying they're better than you because they're just saying, hey man, this
Right.
shit's coming.
They're saying
unless you,
they believe that God thinks it.
they're
Right. You know,
doomsday
yeah.
preppers.
It's weird mental gymnastics.
No, they're more
I
like
don't know.
doomsday preppers. They're like, look, this rapture thing's fucking coming, buddy. We need to build you a bunker. We need to confess all your sins.
I'm
get
kind
you
of a
ready to
doomsday
go.
prepper myself, and I know that Balderson is. I just can't keep chickens alive, but I do have clean water and five-gallon jugs in the basement. We're ready for that shit.
Does
How
Benjamin have
can you
chickens?
not keep chickens alive?
Do I what?
Do you
Raccoons.
have chickens?
Oh God, yeah, I have chickens, ducks, peacocks, turkeys.
Okay,
Friggin'
I'll hit you up
cow,
offline because we're
alpacas.
about to build a chicken coop. So I need some advice because I've never done it before.
I prefer ducks.
Wood pallets. I'll send you some pictures.
Chickens have
They're
no
all out of
survival
wood.
instinct at all.
None.
These things, it's crazy.
Dude, if something comes up and starts killing them at night, they're like, oh, this ain't killing me. Should I
why you
move?
need
No,
one
don't
or-
move. Just sit there and let it eat you.
And sometimes all the rest of them will actually stand right next to it, like
Yes!
inches away, and just watch.
They walk.
Yeah, they're nuts.
All right, so we've hit the 2-hour mark, and I did promise people that I would pull them up in for discussion here. So before I do that, and anybody like that wants to leave during this, they're more than welcome. Anybody wants to stay, stay. I do want to bring up everybody's links again.
I'll be right back, but I'll stick around
Okay.
for a bit.
I do go eat dinner in about a half an hour usually, so I'll stick around for a little bit.
Your dinner made of aborted children.
I went to
You
church
fucking
today.
non. Did you?
And
Yeah.
Dusty, I don't push my beliefs on other people. Religious beliefs.
I didn't.
don't push.
I'm
those
not
on other
accused. I'm not
people.
accusing
Well, you
any
said
of
everyone
you.
on the top row.
All of you, yes, have a belief that is necessarily one of superiority. I didn't say you pushed it. I didn't say Beth pushed it. I have accused Vybe of pushing. But okay, are you this again? Of
Yeah.
course it is. If you believe that God is going to deem you worthy of eternal life and me worthy of the scrap heap, that is a superiority complex.
Yeah, I don't.
I know you're not the
I
one
don't.
doing it.
But see-
The thing is, like the way that I currently believe, I don't know what the hell is going to happen to me when I pass.
Here's the
Or
That
thing.
was going to be my exact answer too. Like,
I know
honestly,
it's all your answers. I'm not accusing any of you of being God, of knowing anything, or of making the decision. Stop straw manning that shit. None of you are God. You all have a superiority belief. It's not. You don't need to lie to me. Like, I know it's there. I can see it. Everybody can see it, but you.
When my God
whatever-
is a
whatever you
fallen
say.
angel who is evil, them are the evil ones, and then I follow that, and I'm following the evil ones. Is evil good or is evil bad? We're the bad guys just by virtue of your fucking story.
I think you're making a massive assumption that like I am of a specific Abrahamic religion, and I'm not.
Do you
have
believe Jesus
prescriptions-
is? Did Jesus die for your sins?
I have moral prescriptions that I believe.
Jesus
are
die
the
for your
best for us to
sins?
Follow, but that's all I would attest to.
Real easy test. Did Jesus die for your sins?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you that.
What do you believe about Jesus? Did he die for your sins, or is he just another nice dude?
I don't know either way. Like I said, I couldn't.
You.
And Taylor,
I mean-
the way that I'm able to get by this, so scientifically, things don't just appear in one spot. Like you take a loaf of bread, you put it in a moist, warm area, mold starts appearing everywhere. It doesn't appear from one spot. It appears
Who's
from,
moist, warm area?
You know, and you don't want to go there. Get a
Okay.
penicillin shot. Things will grow. You don't want them to grow.
Then it's worth it.
Yeah, then it's worth it. Yeah, that's the extra. So I have no problem believing that the desert people over there have their weird jealous God. Cool. I have no problem believing the Native Americans have their God. When you look historically, the thing that anybody called the world was basically their travel area. It's specifically at one point in time, Rome called us the barbarian lands, and everything else was the world. The world meant the area under their control. I have no problem with the Greeks and the Romans having their own gods. They're not mine. My people are from Northern Europe. Odin was our god. You're not from Northern Europe, then I don't care. Cool. I've been to almost every religious ceremony I've had access to ever, and most of them I found
And call out.
What was the question again?
I was explaining to Taylor why I don't have this superiority complex. I don't care. If you want to worship some other thing, I like Buddhists just fine. Odin is not going to go destroy the Buddhists. I have no interest in that. If you want to keep following Buddha, cool. Fine by me.
I don't think that Buddhism is actually a proper religion with a god.
Well,
but that's a difference.
mean.
Yeah.
It's a belief system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It don't matter to me, and I don't find it superior. Now, my actions might be superior to yours. Like, you might act like a shitbag. Well, now this is our actions. It's got nothing to do with your religion, and our religion does not actually buy us a ticket into heaven. Our afterlives, our actions do it. I can say Odin's my best friend and truly believe it in my heart, and if I act like a shitbag my whole life, I'm still going to the place where the other shitbags go.
Hey, Due Diligence and Dub, can you guys cam up backstage first, just so I can make sure I'm not doing something unexpected?
I can.
We all know Duck. We all know.
Oh yeah.
Duck.
And Duck.
Which
yeah.
duck? Which duck?
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Due.
Oh,
The interesting thing to me is, and I'll just shut my mouth. Let me be peaceful. Let me bring the peace to these.
Let's go
Vile
back to that
Christians.
moist place you were talking about, Taylor. Let's go back to that
All
moist place. Would that be the
So
holy
if you-
shit, the holy cow that makes the
if you
holy
take-
mushrooms that you can see Jesus through?
If you take
Nice.
your two middle fingers. Oh wait a second. That's no. I think that the holy mushroom theory is like even goofy. Well, it's certainly goofy as fuck.
I think it's a little funny,
Bro,
but
part of the funny thing is though is you say that you don't you don't subscribe to this hell thing, and you think whatever you want, but it seems like you're really bothered, bro. Honestly.
who are you talking to?
I'm
Doug?
bothered that your mom started sucking my cock but didn't finish it.
You're definitely bothered, bro. You are so bothered. Oh,
Low
That
grade
would
bait.
bother me too, to be fair. Nobody likes blue balls.
No, what? I'm not bothered actually. I haven't been bothered all night.
you're
I don't
not?
know. I don't know
It
why you
seemed
have that
like you were
impression.
kind of bothered. It seemed like you were kind of bothered.
It seems like you want me to be bothered. It seems like you're offering me some weak bait.
Wow, man, you're
it's
so
not that
beta,
good.
dude. You don't even know it.
All right. Well, pray for me, I guess. Yeah.
All right, we'll push you aside then. How about you?
That says dub,
Viking
not
man.
duck. Also,
Hey,
Who
Viking
can
man,
I
Viking-
bait into
Hey,
being
Viking,
mad?
I'm not a Viking. I'm nuts.
Hey, Viking man.
I'm not a
so
Viking,
you talked
I'm
to
nuts.
Odin. You talked to Odin. What did he say to you?
He said he's not one mind. He's three.
Oh, he said he's not one mind. He's three.
Yep.
What does that mean?
Nothing
the
that you would
Trinity.
ever understand, dumb shit.
I saw Jesus.
Wait,
in
then
the
go
toast.
ahead. Explain yourself. Come on.
I
didn't
mean,
he tell
if I
you?
was
mean-
if I was brand new, if I was an alien who came to Earth and was like, which god do I want to follow?
All right, bro. You already
I just
got
wouldn't
wrecked,
choose
bro.
the
Just
one-
Sit aside.
I wouldn't-
Sit aside. You already
Dub.
got wrecked. You already got
Dub.
wrecked, bro.
Like Jesus did.
Oh yeah. What did he do? Tell me.
He died.
Well, he was hanging out with a naked little boy and partying, and then the cops came and they picked him up and went and offed him for it.
Actually,
think
all
that's
of us
disingenuous.
on this panel have made it further than Jesus. I'll stop being a douche now.
I won't even entertain that
Oh,
shit.
thank you. I've been waiting for that for like the last hour. So thanks for that.
Oh, I thought that was
All
like
right, I got
a
a
long
question.
wait.
I got a question concerning hell, right? I just wanted to bring another little tidbit to it, because whenever we think about, the concept of hell, and I think that everybody agreed that the original concept, like the Judaistic concept of hell, and the Western version of hell are two different things, right? And my question is always, why, right? And then three things come to mind, right? You have like the cultural assimilation aspect, right? Whenever you have these different cultures in the same area, right? You have these different cultures in the same area, and they're all, just borrowing. Some people will say taken, right? Whenever you look at the Mediterranean, whenever you look at the Middle East, and you look at Africa, all these people have like some of the same principal things, right? So we have that aspect of it, and then you also have things get lost in translation, right? Misinterpretations, right? Some people will chalk it up to that. But then there's also a third thing, which I haven't heard here tonight, is whenever you have the aspect, whenever religion comes political, right? State-sponsored religion, right? And then I think whenever you look at things like the noble lie, and then you see that how politics can usurp religion, right? And then you get this aspect of what they propaganda when they promoting things for the benefit of politics, right? So I would also like to put in there like the concept of hell, as far as people going to heaven for doing good and bad for hell, is also a part of politics, meaning the state want people to stay in line. This is a mechanism of control. What do you guys think about that?
I agree. And I think that's part of when Vybe was talking about how the one Bible has 50 some references to hell where they changed a shit ton of words into it. That was the King James. And King James specifically, this was a super interesting subject. The 1560 Geneva Bible was the first widely printed Bible or widely copied Bible that was available. And King James did not like it. And he wanted the Bible redone. So King James was known to be somebody that thought God gave kings their power. So he had his own Bible written. The pilgrims that left that country because of that kept the Geneva Bible and came over here. And when we were in elementary school, we were taught they were religious purists, that they were crazy purists. That was actually the Geneva Bible that they were bringing over here. They later renamed it to the Pilgrim's Bible. And so a lot of these twistings that you're talking about came directly from King James, and that definitely for a lot of our history was, it's the Bible that you swore on.
I'm glad that you're so knowledgeable, because I feel honored to be on a panel with a scholar such as you, Benjamin.
Are you drunk?
You tell me, Benjamin, can you tell me all the differences that exist, that you claim exist? Tell me all these differences. What are these differences?
Sounds like a drunk panel killer.
Yeah, this guy's a dumb shit.
You're already done with, bro. Go sit in the corner. Seriously.
Sorry, I'm just over here being triggered. But how much have you had to drink tonight, really?
Seriously, bro. You go over into the corner, bro. Can you relax?
I'm just asking you a question. Yeah, if you answer my question,
that's the question to Benjamin. You are actually a panel killer, bro.
No, you're a dipshit. Am I going to sit and quote the different pieces of the Bible that got changed between one version and the next for the next 12 days? No.
There were actually, by the way, there were only 4 words that are translated over into hell. So
yeah,
not a shit ton.
I'm not going to concede. I'm going to concede that.
Is it a coffee or a booze night?
55 is quite a few more than 4.
That's the number of times the word is used, not how many words.
I definitely
there's
think
numerous words, and it's 55 times.
There's 4 words.
Repeating his. I'm not trying to get into an argument over it. It's not my fucking information.
Well, you're mischaracterizing what this is.
Yeah, we talked about this in the first episode, guys. When it comes to the Bible, and the King James Bible actually isn't that bad. When it comes to Bible translations out there are ones that are more word for word, basically translating from the original text to that language's word. There's thought for thought, which is basically saying we're taking more of the concept, and there's paraphrasing, which would be like the Message Bible or the Gen Z Bible. And we actually
heard about the Gen Z Bible.
You heard the Hood Bible or the Street Bible?
Hilarious.
It is so
Um,
bad. Oh my god, I was reading it with Glenn, and holy crap, I was dying.
But we can see here the King James version is pretty much word for word, and it is one of the more accurate ones. One of the ones a lot of people read is the NIV, which we can see is more thought for thought. So there's going to be it's basically translating time and period thoughts for now time and period thoughts, right? Versus the reason I go with the NASB, which is here word for word. It's one of the more direct Bibles, but they still take some licenses when they have to add the word the because like it's just not in part of the logistics of the old language. If you really want to go word for word, you'd have to go to the interlinear, but that can be hard to read because they're not actually translating it into English grammar. They're literally translating word for word, and it does not always translate into the grammar correctly, right?
Not only the grammar, also
everybody out there is like,
definition.
why is Vybe trashing the King James Bible? I didn't mean to trash the King James Bible.
Let me
It's actually
speak
one
to
of the more
what
accurate ones out
Vybe
there.
is saying. I don't want to. Let's not throw off the panel. But to also add to what you said, Vybe, not only grammar, but definition for definition, right? Right. You don't have cultural equivalent words for every different culture, every different language. For instance, like the concept of sin, the concept of God and El, the concept of spirit. There, you don't have direct words that represent these concepts in English from Hebrew or Greek. So whenever people say word for word translation, I'd be having an issue with that because not all concepts have an equivalent in another language.
And I would agree with you on that. If especially somebody that's coming in new, I'd probably recommend something like the NAB or the NIV because they're reading the Bible and they really kind of need current time context. If you're going to read word for word, you need to understand when that book was written, the time period, and what was actually happening and what those things meant. So you can't just read a word for word, I agree with you, without understanding the context, because if you take the word for word in today's society, it's not going to make sense unless you understand what was happening in society back then. But it is, if you are ever like talking to somebody you're debating and they end up trashing, they'll go for the word for word and not take in consideration when it was written, what was happening during that time, and things like that. And so I think it's good if you're diving into really understanding, not just like, how did the NAIV make the decision to translate it into today's society? You have to understand what was happening in society back then.
Or you can just have faith in God and believe that you don't need a book to be your idol.
What
Praise God, He wrote it on our hearts.
It's called cultural context, and a lot of that is missing in the present, right? We often project our ideals and ideas into the past, and they don't fit, right? And that's another reason why literal translations don't work either, because the cultural context is not there. You can't be literal a lot of the times with certain context.
Perfect example is ripping of the clothes, right? You and I have had that. By the way, it's great to see you again. We've had that conversation before about how like nowadays ripping your clothes, I mean, that's whatever, but in those days when somebody ripped their clothes, it was like a sign of like the most ultimate severe anguish. And it was actually a really big deal because they typically only had.
It sounds super dramatic and tacky and childish.
It is for that time.
Yeah, today it means Hulkamania is getting ready to run wild on you.
I used to get drunk and rip my shirt like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It was a fun like high school, college thing.
Yeah.
Although I got tired of like ending the night with no shirt. It felt really cool right before a fight. Then after a fight, it's like, well, I need some clothes again.
But the point, Taylor, is that consider back in those days, they only had like 2 or 3 sets of clothes.